welcome to another video. We're talking about the Cotton and Fiesta Bowl. If I am correct today, I know we're talking about the Cotton, and then it is the Fiesta. So I was correct today. We're going to talk about, we're going to start with the Cotton because it's first. These are the first two New Year's Six Bowls. The Cotton is on the 29th. It is at 8:30 ESPN, obviously. We'll get that out of the way. So, Ohio State and USC. USC, people like, okay, you can be like, oh, well, they, obviously, didn't get in the playoffs, and it's, and Ohio State too, but like the USC, very much that, like, it's a good season because where they were, now where they are now, it's very good. I think they have I forget the win streak is. I know they've won like the last 5. I'm pretty sure it was just the last 5 they won. I think pretty correct. Ohio State, obviously they were at number 5, and it could. They had a chance. They had a debate. So Sam Darnold, he threw for 3,787 yards this year with 26 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. JT Barrett had just under 3,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And he got injured in the Michigan game, but he came back for the the Wisconsin game, and now will probably be good. Ronald Jones the second, he ran for 1,400 yards, 18 touchdowns, while J.K. Dobbins ran for about 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns. These are like the leaders. I'm going to break down them in a bit more as we go here. And then opening a lot. Deontay Burnett, a lot of tabs open here. He passed for he caught almost 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns, while Pete Campbell caught 587 for 3. By Pete Campbell, pass 2 hours, Campbell. So I have a bunch of just tabs open right now, and it's very confusing on what one is which. Talk about USC. We're going to talk about USC now. As I mentioned, Sam Darnold and Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones is most of the off rushing. They also have Stephen Carr with all about 350 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he's the only other back with more than other than Sam Darnold with 64 for 100 with 5. He's the only back that really clears it. What am I doing? Alright, and then receiving wise, I just screwed everything up. I have the tabs up, and then I just exit out receiving. Obviously, I mentioned Deontay Burnett. He had almost 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. Then Tyler Vaughns had 51 receptions for about 700. Steven Mitchell had about 700. And they had 5 and 4 touchdowns respectively. Then the fourth person, Michael Pittman, 335. Ronald Jones Jr. And Stephen Carr, the top 2 backs have under 200 yards. They have about 189-ish yards, 87, and they don't have many touchdowns. So we're not looking for them to be a threat in this as a runner. And then, as I said, USC, they've won the last 5. After Notre Dame, that beat down Notre Dame, they were 6-2, and they knew they would have to run the table, and they did. They went 8-1. They won their conference, so it's very good for them. Ohio State, mentioned JT Barrett. That's not much more. In the run game, J.T. Barrett ran for about 730 yards with 10 touchdowns. With Mike Weber, the other, I don't know how to describe him because he's been used too. He had almost 600 yards, 10 carries. He was the guy that everyone thought was going to be like the big back this year after doing last year, and he really just didn't do as well as they hoped, I guess. And then, as I said, they're very, J.T. Barrett likes to spread the ball out. There's 7 guys over 20 receptions. And Harris Campbell, as I mentioned, and then KJ Hill. He has 55 receptions, 546 yards. He has the most on the team, with Harris Campbell right behind him. Terry McLaren, he has 28 with 434. Johnny Dixon has 18 with 422, and then 3, 6, and 8 touchdowns respectively. Benjamin Victor has 23 receptions on 349 yards. And to talk about the backs, Mike Weber has under 100 yards receiving, and J.K. Dobson has about 135. Look for the highest back on here. Another back has 25. So they're not using their backs to get out, obviously, as you can see here with 31 in the top 2 running backs, other than the quarterback. So they're not using their backs to get out in space. But when you talk about State, you have to talk about the defense. If I can get some here about the defense. The defense is very good. That was one reason people were giving them like the benefit of the doubt. Totals, and if not. Nick Bosa, he has 7 sacks. The next guy has 6, 4.5, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1.5, 1.5, 1. They have 16 people with sacks. Math I don't feel like doing. 13. They have a bunch of sacks on the year. Interceptions, they have 12 interceptions. And they've recovered 8 fumbles, and they forced 11. So they're gonna get the opportunities. They're gonna take them back. They've scored 1 defensive touchdown though. We can look at returnings. On returns, they have not either. So, but they average. On the returns, kickoff returns, they average. Paris Campbell averages 36, and then they use Mike Weber and KJ Hill, and both of them are high averages. On punts, they're averaging about 10 with Denzel Ward. So you can tell that there. USC, obviously, you think about the offense with them. Ohio State relies on defense a lot. Then Washington and Penn State. Penn State obviously had the aspirations of the playoffs behind Saquon Barkley this year. Hold up. Now, and so the Fiesta Bowl, Washington versus Penn State. It's on the 30th at 4. And leaders Jay Browning, he has about 2,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and Tracy McSorley has about 3,200 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Saquon Barkley, 200 carries, about 1,100 yards and 16 touchdowns. Myles Gaskin has 200 carries, about 1,300 yards and 19 touchdowns. We'll get into why Barkley, though, can be more effective in a minute. And you see that, and you think about over 12 games, he's not even averaging 100 yards a game. You start to wonder about that. Then you start to realize why he wasn't at the Heisman. There's a bunch of people ahead of him. And then Dante Pettis, he has 62 receptions with 721 yards, 7 touchdowns. And Deshaun Hamilton, Daesean Hamilton, I don't know how I'm pronouncing that right. 48 with about 740 yards, 7 touchdowns. Stuff to break down, really. I mentioned Tracy Saquon, he's thrown it. They've let him throw it once or twice. But rushing, it's Saquon and Tracy. That's their offense. Trace. I call him Tracy, but his name's Trace McSorley. He's ran it for 431 yards, 11 touchdowns. On the receiving end, they like to get, as I mentioned, Deshaun Hamilton. He has 747, with Mike Gillespie having 501 yards. Jawan Johnson has 635. As I mentioned, we're going to get into why Barkley gets, he was in the conversation because he also had 594 yards receiving. Pretty much just from scrimmage alone, 1,728 yards. Not a lot of other players, especially non-quarterbacks, can go say that. Then he had 19 touchdowns. The defense of Penn State, they're going to get after you. They have 21 players with sacks, and a lot of them, they're led by Sharif Miller, Jason Cabina, Curtis Cawthorn, and Shaka Tooney. Probably just butchered half those names, though. They have 12 interceptions with 16 interceptions with, oh God, I can't remember now. 12, so they got 28 turnovers. And as I think we see here, McSorley has only thrown 8 interceptions. And from what I see, they're not fumbling it a lot. They're here, a fumbling problem. Kick returns, as I mentioned. So Barkley does kick returns. He has 426 yards. You add that to that, he has 21 total yards. They don't let him do kicks, though. Punt returns, he has 304. Not that. DeAndre Thompkinson has 304. So that's just right there. And then Browning, he likes to air it out a lot more. He has, actually no, Tracy has more yards. So as I mentioned, rushing wise, Myles Gaskin has 1,200, almost 1,300 yards, 19 touchdowns. Levon Coleman has almost 400, along with Levon Ahmed, and they have 400 yards, almost, and then they have 4 and 3 touchdowns respectively. Browning, he's not going to run it. He has 50 attempts for 40 yards, but he gets he has 6 touchdowns, which you're thinking red zone, everything's broken down. He may run it, obviously. On the receiving end, Dante Pettis, by far the top receiver there. They have Myles Gaskin. They're going to use him out of the backfield. He has only 18 receptions. They got the big play threat here. They got a few. They got Quinton Pounds. He's only gotten 10 receptions, but he averages 15.5 yards per touch. Hunter Bryant, he's gotten 22. He's another big play. He gets 15. Gaskin, Levon Coleman, they will all gash you. Why are these certain people highlighted? But, so, we're talking about Myles Gaskin. He has 1,500 yards. So, in the when you see it in total, you see, that's why he has 22 touchdowns. Now, doing all this defense. They got only 16 players with sacks. the high number in sacks. They have they're led by Ryan Beilman, Tevis Bartlett, Vita Vea, Jalen Johnson. They all lead them there. That on the interception front, they have 10 players with them, and they have 13 interceptions. Fumble recoveries, they have 7, so they have 20. And then, as I mentioned before, Brownings has 5, and this site does not tell me lost fumbles. Kick returns, Salvan Ahmed, he gets about 28, and then Sean McGrew, he gets about 22 yards per turn, and then on the punt returns, Dante Pettis, he gets about 19.5, so and he has 4 touchdowns. I think, if I am correct on this, who he is the, if I'm correct on who he is, he's like the world record. Not the world record. He holds the record for most career punts. So you need to watch out for him, obviously. There. Jake Browning has attempted 2 punts. I did not know that, and I would love to have seen that. Probably going to go look up a highlight. That. So when you think about this, Friday. I'm going to do from ESPN, I think a lot of people know about how they have the Bowl Mania. I'm going to go through and make all my picks then. So, we'll wait. Some final notes on both games. Both offenses from Fiesta, they score a lot of points. Both of them scoring 36 points per game, and then they're letting up less than 15.5 per game. So, something's going to give in this game. It's either going to be their defenses or their offense. And I think also, both of them like to run it. Both of them get over 160 yards on the ground. They both get about over 220 yards rushing. Washington, I would say, is more balanced with the 221 passing yards, 189 rushing. And then which also tells us about yards rushing, 167. And if you think about as we mentioned about Penn State, they got multiple people getting carries. So that's another thing about Berkeley. I think if you think about yards allowed, they're letting up. Washington lets up about 50 less yards, and a lot of that comes, and it's really bounced on, they let up 92 yards rushing, while Penn State let out 119. So something will give. Here, back then, final thoughts for the Cotton Bowl. These offenses can score. Their defenses are a little weaker than the ones from the Fiesta. Both of them scored 35 points, but USC lets up 26, while Ohio State lets up about 20. Both of them score more than that 35. Ohio State puts up 42. Yards allowed, total yards, both of them are very high in the 400s. USC about 490. Ohio State's about 520. Ohio State gets about 250 yards on the ground, 274 in the air. Very balanced. USC, they rely heavily on Darnold with about 300 yards and then 300 yards passing, 200 yards rushing. What I think is going to tell the tale here is USC allows 404 yards a game, while Ohio State allows 292 yards per game. And a big thing of that is for USC, they allow up 158 rushing yards and 246 passing. Well, let's go throw that in. Okay, so they allow a little less passing yards and a lot less rushing, but still that would be enough. 158 a game. If that's the difference, 158 yards. You allow 158 yards and you only get 100 yards out. You'll get that. Ohio State allows about 292 yards. 183 of those are through the air, which means very good secondary. A lot of times the front seven just gets looked at, obviously, with the 108 yards rushing, all the sacks they get. A lot of people, look in and focus on the front seven, but they have a talented secondary, obviously, if they're allowing 183 yards. But also a lot of that is also the ability to get to the quarterback. Because once that quarterbacks, and this is any team, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State. Those are the four that come to mind when you're thinking this year with good front four. Now, good front seven. I mean, you may think, oh, Max, Alabama, not anymore. Alabama still has one, obviously, because especially now they're going to get healthy with those linebackers there. And they played well in the last games, Alabama did, but they just didn't play good enough. And people started, they didn't keep the same standard they had. So that's why people were like, oh, Alabama, they're not really top 7. But, they haven't been good front 7 anymore. But still, you think about that, you're probably still going to think Bama. They're going to stop you running, so now you're going to throw it. And the thing about Alabama and Ohio State especially, they got some secondary. Ohio State secondary. They got ballers, Hey, hold up. I forget half their names though. But they got players. So does Alabama. We'll get into Alabama's more. Interceptions. Damian Webb, he has 4 interceptions. Jordan Fuller he has 2. Damon Arnett, he has 2. Denzel Ward, he has 2 and 15 passes defended. So, in Alabama, obviously, you're thinking they got the secondary behind them. Minka, Ronnie. Dang it. When you're listing names, and then you just Minka, Ronnie Harrison, Anthony Averett. I can't remember the other cornerback. Tony Brown, I think. Tony Brown starter. But you think about, all right, they got the front 7 in front of them, and then they got that. And then they have the sacks, obviously. The top 2 guys give them 13 sacks. Anytime your top 2 people are giving you 13 sacks, good. And then they can rotate them out as you can just see here, look at loss. The top 2 guys give them 24.5 sacks for tackles for loss. So they're gonna force them to become one-dimensional, and then that secondary is just gonna have a field day, because when your front 7 and your front 4 is creating pressure, and your front 7 is controlling the run, you automatically can drop just all 4 of your guys if the front 7 just stops to run. All 4, your secondary can just focus on coverages, unless obviously it's a blitz design or something. And then when you've got all 4 men blitzing, and then make all 4 people blitzing, and they're getting pressure, you can drop 7 back. Obviously, bring a man off. You realize, they're using all 5 men here, sneak a man back there, and then it also opens up opportunities for a blitz, because they're going to double team someone. A blitz will be able to slip by. So it works like that. So thank you for watching. The intro was made by my friend Trent Hogg. I'll put a link in the description below. Big thanks to him. I talked to him. I'm like, hey, we were talking about intros. I'm like, hey, how do you make them? He's like, you gotta do this. I'm like, yo, can you just tell me how? I told him an idea, and he made it. So I think it's pretty good. But thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video. Subscribe to my channel. Please like and share this video and subscribe to my channel. Friday we're going to talk about the first set of bowls. We have how many bowls on? We have 5 or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 bowls to talk about Friday. See you then. Stay tuned.